Welcome back everyone, live here in Washington, D.C. with Nutanix NEXT 2025. I'm John Furrier, host of theCUBE, with Bob Laliberte, Paul Nishwati out getting briefings, CUBE analyst at theCUBE Research. Lee Caswell's here, Senior Vice President, CUBE alumni, also SVP of Products and Solutions at Nutanix. Anthony Cinelli, or AC as he's known, Senior Director, Global Sales at Dell Technologies. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on theCUBE. Lee, great to see you, as always.
As always.
Smiling, full of knowledge. AC, great to have you on.
Yeah, absolutely, pumped to be here. Yeah. Maybe next time I'll get the handsome compliment.
Just getting to know you, we'll see how you do here. Well, Dell Tech World's going to be pretty phenomenal. I'm looking forward to your event. Your event here is flying, even day one, the buzz is strong, the vibes are great.
Yeah.
The platform story is not new, but it is definitely flying high right now, so congratulations to you and Rajiv and the team. Great job, so
thanks.
Awesome stuff. Now let's get into it.
Yeah, let's go.
Yep. This joint engineering ecosystem, I call it, is developing, where it's not yesterday's ecosystem.
Right.
There's a lot more to platforms than just having some support for the product. There's a lot of integration because AI is built in, platforms got features.
Right.
Talk about the modern era we're in. You're seeing massive growth here in your ecosystem.
Yeah.
What does it mean? Take us through, and how is Nutanix leveraged this? Was it by design? Was there a specific plan? What's it all about?
The platform approach is really something, really, when you think about it, right? The idea that you give choice. That's what a platform is about, right? And that you're moving towards server-based, software-defined architectures, right? We've been talking about that for years, right? But the opportunity to make it real, to use the power of server-based as an underlying hardware architecture, and now going forward, the ecosystem for Nutanix, right, is exploding. I was saying, two years ago, we had basically 55 companies here, or 30 companies, then we moved to 55 companies, now 85 sponsors here, and of course, with Dell, right, we've been working over a decade now, bringing joint technologies, the latest of which is Dell PowerFlex, right?
Yep. Yeah. And Dell, you guys play, obviously, horizontally, huge customer install base. Customers aren't giving up their gear. They're building on top of it and around it and new stuff coming in. Your relationships have to scan. AI Factory, big part of it. They're like an operating model in the factory too. We had NVIDIA on, Kevin Deerling on earlier with NVIDIA, with Tarkin Maynard. Nutanix, looking like they're going to break out in a big way. What's your position on this? How are you guys flexing in here?
Yeah, so a few things. And first, when we think about the software-defined vision, and by the way, Lee and I are OGs of the software-defined vision. I think we've both been in this world since, I don't know, the mid-2010s. And at its core, it was always about enabling a tremendous amount of flexibility for customers. And one of the things we've always leaned into very heavily with our PowerFlex platform is it provides all that flexibility with a tremendous open ecosystem, just providing customers enormous amounts of choice. And let's face it, recently, customers have really been leaning into the idea of wanting choice more than ever in parts of the stack where they maybe haven't thought about choice before. And the reality is, that part of the stack today is the hypervisor. And I think, credit to Nutanix and to Dell for saying, hey, how can we maybe work together to bring some of our capabilities together to just help meet the market where it is, which is customers looking for more choice and flexibility than ever before. And Nutanix had some fabulous foresight to really do some things in the hypervisor world that introduce simplicity of operations and automation at scale on a very proven hypervisor platform, and the ability to partner that now with PowerFlex allows us to unlock a tremendous amount of capability in a part of the market that really didn't have access to that before.
Yeah, and it also provides a great opportunity to modernize as well. Yeah. So it's not only just hypervisor to hypervisor, but also that future path as well to be able to modernize those apps, right? Move on to a Kubernetes platform as well. Yeah,
the idea that we're trying to get the infrastructure out of the way so developers can actually get to work, right? And the fact that containers we see as being complementary to VMs. I think one of the things that really caught people a little bit by surprise was Nutanix working with external storage, right? You're like, wait a minute, how does that work, right? For years, right, we've been replacing external storage was the idea. I think this is a real maturity of the vision from Nutanix, right, is that, hey, now we're moving past HCI, which is, not past it, but this is from the sense that market adoption is happening at double-digit rates. But we're watching that customers at large scale want to go and manage both external storage and HCI together. And that's really a maturity, and it's in part driven by the disruption happening in the virtualization space.
Yeah.
The largest customers are coming saying, hey, how can I get access to Nutanix value more quickly?
Yeah.
And we're looking and saying, hey, partnering with Dell on PowerFlex is one way to make that happen.
Yeah, and the hyperscale showed it in the cloud, the on-prem growth of AI factories is one trend.
Yeah.
You guys are OGs of software defined. I have to ask the question because now the capabilities of infrastructure demand is up.
Yeah.
What is different now in the environment? Because it's like, I won't say software defined hasn't realized it hasn't grown up fully. Maybe the timing was an issue. What's it about this culture now that software-defined is working and scaling? Is it the fact that the infrastructure has blown up in terms of capabilities? Has it been like the new architecture? Is there a reason why now more than ever, software-defined's rising fast, like super fast? It's not like, it's been around, but like,
well, here's two things I'll offer up and then get over to AC here. Right? So one is, we're taking advantage of the fact that, by my calculations, there's over 27,000 servers sold a day, right? So new hardware is coming to new servers. Customers upgrade servers more quickly, and they actually, it turns out you get new servers faster, right, than you get storage systems, right? So storage systems and HCI built on servers gives you access to the latest CPUs, GPUs, the latest NVMe devices. That's one thing. The other one is that there are not enough specialists out there to run a different AI stack for a data lake and a different AI stack for data ingest, as well as processing, as well as archiving. You're running out of people, right? So you have to basically consolidate. We have a long history of consolidating. We started with storage and and compute. Now we're taking Kubernetes as well as VMs and the hybrid multi-cloud world. All of that means you can get a lot of leverage from your existing teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I think maybe to add on to that, data, right? We always see this, it's the first slide in every presentation, data's growing by X amount every year, and that's a reality, and especially when we think about where this new partnership between PowerFlex and Nutanix is most incremental to the market, it's really around helping address those at scale, larger customers who, when they think about their storage environment, they need scale-out architecture because the reality of trying to solve for that with a scale-up traditional array, they need to manage tens, dozens, in some cases several hundred of these arrays. That's just not feasible. So the superpower that PowerFlex brings to the table is introducing that true scale-out architecture that enables massive amounts of simplicity and consolidation and increase utilization, which drives down cost, and now it also provides that flexibility to say, hey, I'm running one hypervisor today, but now with no disruption whatsoever, with no new infrastructure hardware investment, I can now just go deploy a modern hypervisor with tremendous amounts of automation and simplicity that, oh, by the way, also gives me an on-ramp to container orchestration as well. So there's so much about this that is all about meeting customers with where they are and what they're asking for. That that's why there's just so much excitement around this.
The demand is high.
Totally.
Yeah, and
demand is high.
I was going to say also the other piece of you were talking about scaling. It's also the fact that organizations have fewer and fewer resources to manage an increasingly large and distributed environment.
Yeah, that's right.
So having that platform, having that common storage platform that you can deploy at multiple locations, having the operating system enable you to do it a lot more efficiently, right? And so a little bit of principle of least astonishment, you can spin up resources in the cloud, you can spin up resources in the data center or at the edge, and it all has the same common look and feel, right?
Kind of runs back to the theme of the show.
Exactly.
Right? Run anything, anywhere, right? I mean, it couldn't be more simple than that, except the actual implementation of that is actually pretty complex.
Correct.
Right? So making containers work the same as VMs. And we have a joint vision here, I think, that data will be more distributed over time.
Correct.
If you believe that, then all of a sudden this idea of managing at scale, fleet management, right? Whether it's Kubernetes, whether it's VMs, across files, blocks, and objects, man, this becomes a really interesting solve.
And the demand for the customers, they're re-architecting for the AI factories, for the new distributed computing environment. That's hybrid cloud. Hello, we're back. It's now standard. So hybrid cloud is a done deal. That bet came in.
Right.
So check.
And there's something Lee called out that I do want to highlight. Like, there's engineering, there's hard work that went into effectively making this invisible and seamless for customers. And I want to be really clear, like this isn't just a marketing partnership, a marketing announcement. There is a tremendous amount of engineering integration that went into making the Nutanix experience with PowerFlex effectively seamless and invisible for customers. And you know, for customers that want to learn more about that, certainly reach out. We'd love to talk about it, but there's a tremendous work that was delivered by the teams enabling this.
That's a great point, AC, because I was trying to get at my first question about the modern ecosystem. The relationships are more engineering oriented, their integration's big. You guys have a lot of activity over the past year together. Talk specifically about what you guys are actually delivering here and going forward with, because you're going into a market where it's faster build out, scale up and scale out. Storage is playing a different role. Servers are playing a different role. All the combination of chips and the substrate around it. This is where the demand is. All the customers are re-architecting for this. So what's the relationship? Give us some taste of the activity and accomplishments.
You know, one of the things I'll maybe make a claim around is that when it comes to consuming Nutanix solutions and Nutanix platform outcomes, Dell is best positioned to meet the customer wherever they are with whatever they're looking for. And the beauty of this is, yes, we have this very exciting announcement with our new PowerFlex integration that's now available for customers to run and buy. But we also have our XC and XC Plus offerings, which allows us to bring those integrated outcomes directly to customers with that HCI implementation for those customers that feel that's most appropriate for them. And in all those models, we have the full power of Dell's supply chain. So whether that's different server form factors, different silicon suppliers, diversity, you name it, we have the ability to just solve across such a wide spectrum of workloads to enable customers to say, hey, we got you, go focus on your business problem, we'll take care of the infrastructure. You know,
you're going to appreciate this comment. John Rose, the CTO of Dell, and I were chatting the other day at RSA, he came by to do a flyby to check out the security industry. And we've been talking about our AI lab we're working on, and he said, and he's got the same ethos as Debo, who came on earlier, the Chief AI Officer for Nutanix. In Nutanix, at Nutanix, and on Nutanix is their philosophy. In Nutanix, how do you make AI work on all three areas? John Rose, the same thing. He was telling me that him and Michael Dell were talking about, maybe I shouldn't say this live camera, maybe, I guess I will. I guess I will.
No responsibility for
how about those Celtics? Okay, so what he said was that they're looking at the configurations of servers using AI inside Dell to help customers figure out what they need for a workload with algorithms. That's kind of like a build to workload order. Now, if you remember the Dell history, that was one of the Dell's things. So this is kind of where it's going, to your point. The configurations for the workload isn't just another platform feature. The platform has to be ready for that. So I'm kind of tie together the platform with Dell. What does this mean for the customer? Does that make their life easier? What does that mean for you guys on the software side? How do you guys make that partnership? Rationalize that thought, because this is a new best practice, actually.
Just in terms of how the products integrate, first we'll start there, right? If you initiate a snapshot now, you initiate it from the Prism interface. Well, that's new. And it's executed in the data path on PowerFlex. Oh, so now I got basically where you would want that to be executed. So you got this integration. That was part of the joint engineering that we have between how do these products work together. Also, by the way, we're bringing things like VM-centric replication and DR. That's different than LUN-based, right? So all of a sudden I can get not quite to the application, but pretty darn close. So I can start looking at the application, right? And infrastructure folks are starting to think, hey, listen, that might be a faster path to make the application users more friendly to this, right? I'll give you a story. My daughter's a data scientist, really proud of her, but she doesn't know anything about what we do. She just wants to go and get her, the latest application deployed. We are helping now say, whether it's AI, databases, analytics, we're going to bring the same enterprise value we've always brought. Resiliency, day two operations, security, privacy.
Scale.
And scale.
Scale's the killer.
Now you can go and basically do that at the speed that the developers need.
And I think this is the relationship of the new ecosystem where it's not a Barney deal or a marketing deal or a co-sell deal. Well, those are great too, but the customer wants that abstracted away. They just want faster infrastructure.
And the reality, to your point of earlier, it's like, this is hard work. It made me think of the duck analogy on the surface. It's nice and calm, but underneath the feet are going like crazy. Right? I mean, it's a lot of work to integrate these solutions to provide something to the users, to the operations teams that's simple and easy to use, right? You're abstracting all that complexity, and then you're delivering something that is ostensibly much easier, much more efficient for organizations to scale, to deploy, to be more agile with as well.
It's one tribute to the modularity of the Nutanix architecture also, right? I mean, Nutanix was architected at the time that the hypervisor was already completed, basically, right? So it was innovated separately. And that gave us choice of hypervisor up front, big value, right, across our joint customers. And now we can start looking at, it doesn't even have to have a hypervisor going forward, right? That's a cloud native AOS we announced.
I love the example of your daughter, because one of the things we're seeing on the CUBE is the platform engineering world and infrastructure world is intersecting with predictive analytics, operational data. They're two different tribes. If you blend them together, you get OpenStack. Okay? That's the joke.
And about 300 people.
And nothing gets done. No, but there's a synergy, almost like a DMZ layer between them. So you're starting to see those cultures, because platform engineers are operating at scale, DevOps. Now you got data side building out very, very fast. So this ability to be agile, but yet scale fast. What do you guys view that? Because this is a real customer situation inside the customer base. Who leads the project? Who leads? The scale lead? So what's enabling what? You know, there's a Venn diagram at some point where analytics meets platform. This is a key intersection.
Maybe the way I'll kind of frame that is, the days of trying to tell a customer about a product are kind of gone. They don't have time for it. They don't have, to Lee's point, they don't have the people for it. The last thing anyone wants is another product. They want to hear about outcomes. They want to say, here's my business challenge, here's my problem, here's what I'm trying to achieve. How do you get me there? And your duck analogy, I don't care about the feet. I want to provide, and look, I think that's something we're very, very heavily leaning into in all aspects of our business at Dell, whether that's the AI factory concept, which is, hey, let us deliver that end-to-end AI outcome for you, whether that's this idea of providing open ecosystem, modular, software-defined infrastructure that, oh, by the way, you deploy this Nutanix platform on it, you spin up a VM, the storage is automatically created and mapped to it. You don't do anything. You take a snapshot, done at the hypervisor layer, nothing to do with storage integration, yet you still get that benefit of independent resource scale, independent resource patching and lifecycling. So again, it's how do we deliver these true multi-cloud outcomes in the data center without going to the customer and say, oh, here's why my widget does a little bit better this or that than someone else's widget. Like they just don't care anymore.
And the role of storage is changing too, and the configurations of these architectures. So it's more relevant, if anything, than that. So choice drives everything.
And when you get to AI, all of a sudden it gets even bigger. Choice of GPUs. I started needing a choice of an LLM. How do I get access? Choice of the new NIM models, right? NEMO models, the agentic cycle. We're working, to make sure this is accessible to both of our joint customers.
Guys, I really appreciate the time. Congratulations. Great relationship with Dell.
Great to be here.
Love the new ecosystem, Lee. Great to see you. Okay, more CUBE coverage here. CEO of Nutanix coming up next. We're going to talk to Dr. Rajiv coming up, because now we know he's got a PhD.
He does.
Ask him about all the cool platforms. Remember, only 3 things to remember. Platform, platform, and platform. We'll be right back.